Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as some of you know, I am a scout leader, and this video is all about helping parents out with kit and stuff like this. From what I've seen in the past with my scouts, they turn up, and most of the time they turn up with, the wrong kit and stuff like this, and the experience ain't that great for them. So I thought I'd make a video for all parents out there, just to give you a bit of education sort of thing on the gear, type of gear. You don't have to spend lots of money. There are ways of sort of finding good gear at cheap prices, to make sure that your scout, your cub, or if they're doing Duke of Edinburgh or Explorers, whatever, the sort of kit that they would need for a weekend camp. So without spending lots of money. So yeah, I've been a beaver, a cub, a scout. I did Duke of Edinburgh. I'm now a scout leader. So this is to help the parents pack for a weekend away. Realistically, one thing that you really want to try and get in the habit of is getting the scout or the explorer or whoever to pack their own bag, so they know exactly where everything is. So on that note, we'll start off with the sleep system. Now, the sleep system is built up with two products in mind: sleeping bag, roll mat. So you have two different kinds of sleeping bag. You have synthetic or you have down. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a down sleeping bag, because you're looking at lots of money for a down sleeping bag. They pack small and they're very warm and stuff like this, but unless you're willing to spend a lot of money on a down sleeping bag, I wouldn't suggest it. I would go synthetic. Now, the only problem is with synthetic is that they're quite bulky bags. Now, there's different season sleeping bags. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 season sleeping bags. I find that it's better, instead of buying multiple sleeping bags, just buy one sleeping bag. Go for a 4 season sleeping bag. At the end of the day, if they're hot during the summer, they can just unzip it. But in the winter, it'll keep them nice and warm. I see too many scouts turning up at camps with summer sleeping bags, and it's still early March and stuff like this, where it still drops down to about 0 degrees. So they have an uncomfortable night. So, on that note, looking at 4 season sleeping bags, synthetic ones. I've got a down one over there, but we'll just look at the synthetic ones. This one's my daughter's one. This is a Vango Latitude Pro 400. So the comfort rating is what you want to look at on a sleeping bag. It will say other things, risk, extreme and stuff. You only want to look at the comfort rating. That's all you care about. So the comfort rating on this is -4. So that means anything down to -4, they will be comfortable. They have a comfortable night's sleep. Anything below that, they will be cold. 4 seasons, as you can see, it's a bulky bag. I mean, this one's quite nice. It's got a good grab handle. So if you can't fit it in your bag, you could carry it in separately. If you've got straps underneath your bag or on top, you could strap it to your bag, but you could carry it in quite nicely and easily. But this will keep you warm all year round. Now, this particular bag is actually on special offer on Millets at the moment, down from £100 to £50. When you think of it, if say your young one is a cub, you spend 50 quid now, and they do cubs, they do scouts, they do explorers, and they do Duke of Edinburgh. That's not a lot of money to spend for that amount of years of camping. They might even go on to do fishing and stuff like that. So a 4 season sleeping bag is good. The only thing is with like Duke of Edinburgh, because they've got to carry their kit. I mean, it's not overly heavy. I think it does. So yeah, it's 2,100 grams. So it is a bit heavy for hiking long distance, and like I said, it's bulky. So you might want a smaller sleeping bag, which means that then you're going to be going down to 3 2-season sleeping bags. But like I said, this one's 50 quid. I have got another one here, which I recently picked up. It's another 4 season synthetic bag. I picked it up off of Marketplace for 20, it was either 20 or 25 quid, used once. It's a £100 sleeping bag. Perfect condition, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. These are the sort of places you need to look at if you don't want to spend lots of money. Marketplace, eBay, you've got all these other places where you can look. Vinted is a good one. Or you've got Go Outdoors. Go Outdoors do discounts for scouts as well. But Millets is always a good one because they've always got certain sales on and stuff like that. Always have a look on their website. But yeah, 4-season I would suggest. If you go lower than that, take this one for instance. This is my 1 to 2 season. The comfort rating is 10 degrees. Now in middle of summer, I use this. No other time, because in England, where I'm based, 10 degrees, you know, even in the middle of summer, can drop below 10 degrees. But as you can see, that is a synthetic bag still, and it's tiny compared to it. I mean, it doesn't actually say, oh yeah, 740 grams. So it's a lot lighter, and that compacts down even smaller than that. It's a great little bag, little OEX one. I think it cost me like 30 quid. Ways of making sleeping bags warmer is, there's a few ways. You can either wear thermals, so you've got thermals, cheap thermals. You don't have to go expensive. These are Peter Storm thermals. Got a nice thermal top there and some thermal longeons. You wear those to bed, and that can make a lot of difference. You shouldn't have to wear lots of clothes when you get in your sleeping bag. I see too many kids just layering up and up and up, wearing all jumpers and all sorts, you know, to bed hoodies and onesies and stuff like this. Thermals cost nothing. They're very cheap. Vinted again, you could probably get a second-hand pair, but brand new, you can get a full set for like 20 quid. Makes all the difference, set of thermals. Good places to also buy is like military places. You can buy like an Arctic sleeping bag, very cheap. British Army Arctic sleep. Now they're huge, but trust me, that'll keep you warm no matter what. Anyway, moving on. So sleeping bags are one level of that sleep system. The second level of that sleep system is the roll mat. I've had it before where scouts have turned up at camp and they don't have roll mats. You need to have a roll mat. If you don't have a roll mat, it's not just for comfort. Roll mats protect you from the cold ground. Otherwise, the cold ground will draw that heat out of your body and give you a cold night. Because as soon as you get in your sleeping bag and you lay in your sleeping bag, it compresses all that insulation in the sleeping bag. Now, obviously, roll mats are also designed for making it comfortable. I've got a range of sleeping roll mats. Here I've got Thermarest one there. I've got another Thermarest over here. I've got a Flextail one here. I've got a cheap, unbranded one. Once again, they come in seasons, but it's classed as R rating. So you've got like R ratings, like 1R is going to be like summer, up to sort of over 7R rating, which is winter. So 7R, that's this one down here is a 7R rating. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a 7R rated sleep mat because there's no need. I'd probably go halfway if you can, so about 3. This one here is 2.1. Roll mats, you can get them second hand again. Sometimes they come bulky, sometimes they're quite small. You know, it's nice if you can find one small. The cheaper brands like this one is not even going to have an R rating on it. So this doesn't even tell you the R rating. But it's better than nothing. Anything's better than nothing. Even a yoga mat is better than nothing. It will protect you. Same with this sleeping bag. This is a cheap sleeping bag down here. I can tell it's a summer sleeping bag, but there's no season written on it. But yeah, roll mats are very important. Sleeping bag and roll mat come one in one. They are both important as each other. You're never going to find a good sleeping bag or roll mat that's worthwhile in B&M, Home Bargains, or anywhere like that. You need to go to a camping shop if you want to buy brand new, or go through, like I say, Marketplace, go to your ex-military places and stuff like this. You know, there's loads of reviews on different sleeping bags out there on YouTube especially. Vango's a great one. OEX is another good one. Berghaus is another good one. These are all good sleeping bag makes, sort of things where you're not going to spend ridiculous amounts of money. To add to that, if you did want to add a little bit of heat, like a bit more extra warmth to your sleeping bag, I do this on a regular basis, and that is hand warmers. You can pick these up really dirt cheap in most places. They're £1 for a packet like this. Open it up, chuck it in your sleeping bag about half an hour before you go to bed, and it just warms up your sleeping bag. Now these last for about 10 hours, so it's going to last you all night. So it'll keep warm all night long. It doesn't add huge amounts of heat, but it does help, trust me. Sometimes you'll roll over and you'll feel that heat from that hand warmer. It's very nice. And it's a nice little trick to do. If you've only got a 2-3 season sleeping bag, by wearing thermals and having some hand warmers in there, you'll be surprised at the difference. Also, if it is cold, a little fleeced hat, because a lot of heat escapes from your head. A little fleece hat, I have a very thin one, and it's lovely. And if I'm cold, I'll put that on, or a snood, stick that over my head, and it just stops that heat escaping from my head. So it is a nice little thing to have in your pack. It takes up no room whatsoever. And that's what you want to do, really. You want to try and minimise the stuff that you're taking. Thermals, pack away small. Hand warmers, pack away small. A little fleeced hat, packs away small. All these little things. I see too many kids turning up with multiple bags at weekends. Considering all they're bringing is a sleep system, some cutlery and some clothes, it looks like they're going away for 2 weeks. You know, it's mental. But yeah, that is a sleep system, basically. So a nice little sleep system. With the sleep system as well, you want to make sure a couple of things. One, they're washed on a regular basis. They all have washing instructions with sleeping bags, and you can get special washing up detergent and stuff for sleeping bags from camping shops. They cost £4 or £5. You don't have to spend a lot of money. But once again, there's a lot of how-to videos on YouTube of how to do that. Also, every camp that you do, as soon as you get back, unpack your sleeping bag and hang it out to dry. Same as your roll mat. You want to hang it out like on a drying line or over the banister. Leave it there for a couple of days. You need it to air out. Because if it got damp at any point, your roll mat got muddy, you need to wipe that off with just a baby wipe or something. But if you don't, and they have got damp, and you just leave it in the bag until the next camp, next time you get that out, one, it's going to smell horrible, and two, it might have mould on it, which you don't want, obviously. You need to look after sleeping bags like you would any clothes, jacket, you know, anything like that. You need to look after them. If you look after this gear, it will last you for many, many years. And this is the thing that you want to get your young person into, is looking after their own kit. Give them that responsibility of looking after their own kit and making sure that it's ready for the next time that they go out. And this is another thing of that they pack their bag. You sit there and watch them, obviously make sure that they've got everything on their kit list, but let them pack it. Now there's many videos once again on how to pack a bag and stuff like this. I'm not going to go through that today, but there are many videos out there on how to pack a bag properly. Especially for like Duke of Edinburgh. Duke of Edinburgh, you want to make sure that you take every gram into consideration, because you've got to carry that bag. So sometimes a bigger bag like this might not be the best option. You might want to go for a smaller sleeping bag, but then make sure you take your thermals and a few extra bits just to keep you warm overnight. Roll mats, like I say, it is up and down with the roll mats. Sometimes they're massive, sometimes they're small, but they can get quite expensive. You take like the Flextail one here, this is a 5R rating, and that's about £100, that one, which I don't think is personally over a lot of money, because the thing is with a roll mat, you can use it for multiple things, you know. Even if you have someone stay around, you can pump it up and you've got a spare place for someone to sleep comfortably. So yeah, I don't think it's a huge amount of money. Unless you start going up to like the really expensive roll mats. I wouldn't suggest that for these kids, definitely not. Moving on, pillows. Lots of kids turn up with pillows from home, and they'll bring 2 or 3 pillows from home with them. So they've got those under their arm, they've got a sleeping bag under their other arm, they've got the bag. Camping shops do pillows so cheap. Something like this high gear one, this is my daughter's one. This was like a £5, you know, and it's a lovely little pillow. Does the job. It tucks inside her hood, and she's comfortable as anything in that. You can go different routes, you know. There's sort of inflatable ones. This is one of my inflatable ones. It's about £20. Packs away nice and small. It's got a flocked surface on it. You just blow it up to the hardness that you want it. but it's lovely, small, lightweight, easy to pack. But you can get these sort of inflatable ones really cheap off of Amazon. You've got Trekology, they're a good brand. I've got one here. This is the one that I used to use before this one. Amazon do a lot of Trekology stuff, and they're not expensive either. Still really comfortable. So yeah, pillows, it depends. When I was a cub, we didn't really have camping pillows. It was just you lie on your jumper or whatever, you know, make a pillow out of your jacket and lie on that. Use your bag, whatever. It depends on, you just want to make sure that the youngster is comfortable and has a good experience. So yeah, pillows, you know, it's an easy one really. Moving on, let's move on to the bag. So I would suggest, I have got another bag, but I've lent it out to someone, so we'll use this one as a demo. This is a 45 litre rucksack. They come in litres. The largest bag, I would say, for a weekend for any scout or anything like that, even Duke of Edinburgh, 50 litres. Would not go any bigger than 50 litres, because the trouble is, if you go bigger than 50 litres, you're just going to keep packing and packing and packing until it's full. The whole idea is that you think about what you're taking. You don't need to take a lot, especially scout camps and stuff like that. You don't need to take a lot. Like I say, it's all provided on site. You've just got to take your sleep system, some cutlery and some clothes. That's pretty much it. So this is a 45 litre. The bag that I use with all my gear in when I go camping, cook equipment, shelter, everything is a 45. There's no, oh no, it's a 35, sorry. There's no need for a massive bag. I made the mistake when I was younger. I had this massive, like, 90 litre bag. It was bigger than me, you know, and you just don't need it. If you think about how you're packing, then you can easily get everything in there. The only problem you're going to have is if you have a sleeping bag like this, like I say, then you have to carry that in. But everything else should fit in your bag, nice and comfortably. It shouldn't be too heavy, and you should be able to carry it to site. Which is another thing that we need to get kids into. No more parents carrying their gear to site, you know. Let them deal with it. It's all part of the experience. But yeah, 50 litre rucksack is the largest you need to go. You don't need to spend a lot. You see rucksacks all over the place on Marketplace and stuff like this. You don't need to spend a lot. You get a lot of kids that do Duke of Edinburgh. They've done it. They want to get rid of the bag, scout stuff. You can buy them really. You don't need an all singing, all dancing rucksack. They're going to be carrying it for maximum 5-10 minutes with their gear in. You don't need to spend a lot on a rucksack. So yeah, 50 litres. It's good if it has side pockets, so then you can put your water bottle and stuff like that in. But that is pretty much it. You don't need any more than 50 litres. My sister-in-law just did her Duke of Edinburgh. I lent her a 50 litre rucksack and she was perfectly fine. So yeah, I would not go bigger than 50 litres. Moving on. So some of the smaller bits of gear that I would suggest taking. Something like a water bottle. These are great for hikes. They're great for all sorts of stuff. This is a 1.5 litre bottle. Now you can get these in camping shops, Amazon, everywhere. 1 litre, 1.5 litre bottles. They're great because they'll keep you going. They're lovely. They're well made. This is an Nalgene one. So this one's a little bit more expensive just because it's the brand. So this one here was about, I think it's nearly 20 quid or something like that. So that's 1.5 litres. I have got other ones. I've got like this one here, which is my metal one, which is 1 litre. The only thing is with metal ones, obviously they're heavier, and they will cost more. A water bottle like this is fantastic for hikes. If you're going out, if the kid's going out for a hike for the day, 1.5 litres should be more than enough, unless they're cooking with water, then they might need a little bit more. But yeah, it's a nice water bottle, you know. They fill it up in the morning and then that's them done for the rest of the day, so they can keep that with them in their bag or whatever. Makes it nice and easy. Moving on, a plate. normal plates and stuff you can pick up. A plate doesn't have to be anything fantastic. You can get plates out of B&M certain times of the year that cost like a couple of quid. I mean, this is my personal plate, but I like this because it's got quite a deep lip on it, so I can have all sorts of stuff in there and not worry about it spilling over. I don't bother carrying a bowl because I don't tend to really use a bowl, but if they want a bowl, you can get little camp bowls as well. I've seen kids turn up with a full family like kit for a family of 4, 4 plates, 4 bowls, 4 small plates, 4 cup, plate, a bowl and a cup. I mean, this is probably not the best. That's my daughter's cookser. But yeah, a nice little cup to if they like hot drinks. If they don't like hot drinks, then there's no point sending them with a cup. But you can pick up cups and plates and stuff like that really, really cheap. If we look at where is cutlery, you can get little kits like this really cheap as well for like Amazon and stuff like that. It's a lovely little set. It's just got everything you need in there: spoon, fork and knife. But it packs away in a nice little container, so you know exactly where it is. You can write the kid's name on the back so they know it's theirs, so it doesn't get lost. But once again, you can use obviously knives, forks and spoons from home, but it's nice to have this gear, especially Duke of Edinburgh. This obviously is going to be lighter than a metal set from home or something like this, and it's all kept in one thing. And you can just slip that in your side pocket for a couple of quid. It's quite worth having just a little set like that. So yeah, that's your plates, your bowls and stuff like that. It's not a massive thing. Like I say, you don't have to spend a lot of money on that sort of thing. Just cheap as chips, whatever works. Just don't send them in with a full family camping set. Other than that, good winter stuff. Obviously, a pair of gloves for winter. You want a nice pair of gloves. I'm not saying go out and buy them a nice pair of leather gloves like this, but they do need some gloves, keep their hands warm. And then one thing that I suggest, so I see a lot of scouts with big torches. I'm talking like massive torches that blind people like a mile away. It's ridiculous. You don't need it. I mean, this is a powerful torch that I've got. It's an O-light. I don't really use it because I've got this little head torch. This head torch cost me a tenner from Millets, and I love this thing. It's a little USB rechargeable. Once it's on my head, I hardly even notice it's there. You don't need a bright torch when you go camping. I have this on moonlight mode, which is just the lowest mode that it can be on. I just need to be able to see where I'm going. And when I'm cooking, maybe I might turn it up just so I can see properly what I'm doing. Just a little head torch. Head torches are so much better than torches. They could just put it on the head. They know where it is. They're not going to lose it because it's on their head. I've had too many scouts lose torches and stuff like this. By having that, it's really good. And also, the button is actually glow in the dark. So when it's laying next to you when you're asleep and you wake up, you can see where your head torch is and stuff like this. For a tenner, that's a perfect little torch. You don't need to go out and buy a massive torch that's going to take up loads of space in your bag. Just a little thing like that makes all the difference. Now, if you can, what I suggest is a little pouch or something that you can put bits and bobs in, like your head torch and a few other little bits and bobs that they might need. Just stuff that you could put. If they want to take a battery bank, that could go in here with a couple of cables. Then it's all contained. Then they know they can pull stuff out of their bag, and they know that, alright, I've got my torch in here, I've got my battery bank, I've got my cables, and anything else. They might have mosquito insect repellent in there. They might have some antibac wipes and stuff like this, some deodorant or whatever. But it's all in that one pouch. I know that when I open up my bag, I can pull this out and it's got everything I need in this one pouch. And then they can have that next to them when they sleep, and they can just grab things out, put it back. You don't have to spend a lot on a little pouch, just whatever. It could be a little travel pouch, that you use for all your toiletries and stuff like that. Just anything, a pouch makes it a lot easier for them to find stuff. First aid kit. Now, realistically, they shouldn't need a first aid kit. Duke of Edinburgh will, but they shouldn't need a first aid kit. Now, you can buy first aid kits in camping shops. Some of them cost quite a bit of money. You can just buy cheap ones. This is one that I've personally made myself. So it's just got stuff in it that I know that I will need. So mostly plasters, antiseptic cream, burn gel, tick card remover and stuff like this. But it's nice and small, fits in the side pocket of my bag. You know, I prefer making my own because then I know exactly what's in there. As long as you make sure what's in there is needed, you know. At the end of the day, there's certain things that a young person is going to have in those little first aid kits that you buy, and they wouldn't even know how to use it. So it's just taking up space that they don't really need. Yeah, so you've got that. That is first aid kits. Moving on to clothes. So clothes, I always suggest taking clothes in. You could take them in, you know, something like this, a nice pouch or something. This is my clothes pouch that I use when I go camping. I can put all my clothes in there, roll them up, put them in there. But you could also use dry bags. Dry bags, you can get dry bags really cheap, and it means if the bag gets wet, your clothes are still dry. You can get packing cubes off of Amazon, stuff like that. Packing cubes are great. You could segregate each day into a different packing cube, or you could just shove it all in one packing cube. When it comes to camping, layers are best. So having like thermals, then t-shirt, a fleece, a jacket. Layers work really well. Things I hate on camps are onesies and hoodies. They don't really, as much as people think they're warm, they're not. They're too baggy, they let too much air in and stuff like this, and they take up huge amounts of space in your bag. They're not great things to have. You're better off with a small set of thermals and layers. So if I was going on a winter camp, like proper winter camp, I would wear my thermals all day, t-shirt, my trousers over the top obviously, my fleece, and I normally have a shirt that goes over my fleece, and then I have my jacket on top, and then a wool hat. And then when I go to bed, I take everything off apart from my thermals, get into bed, and then in the morning I get dressed again. It's the best thing. It's the best way around it. Hoodies and onesies take up too much space, and they're not that warm. If they get wet, they stay wet. They don't dry out quickly. So, on that note, good clothes to wear at camp is like combats. Combats dry really quickly. You don't want to be really wearing jeans. Jeans, once they get wet, they get heavy. They take ages to dry out. Combats, leggings, they are the best way to go. Okay, cotton clothing is really good for it as well. But yeah, that is the way that you want to go with clothing, really. You want to make sure that you're warm, you're comfortable, but you don't want to make sure you're too warm. If you start sweating, then you're going to be sweating, and then you're going to be uncomfortable, and you'll get cold because you're sweating. But then you can take layers off, add layers as and when you need them. So yeah, clothes-wise, put them in pouches, then it's not all just shoved in the bag, so then when they pull their sleeping bag out or something, it doesn't just explode everywhere all over the tent, and then they end up losing stuff. Oh, I've lost my sock, I've lost this, I've lost that. If they've got a pouch, they can just shove it back in there if they want to take it off or whatever. They know where their kit is. Moving on to socks and boots. I always suggest boots, no matter what. Boots, hiking boots are the best. So a good pair of hiking boots, once again, vintage, places like that you can get them second hand. The only thing is, if they're waterproof boots, make sure you test that they're waterproof when you get them if they're second hand, because the waterproofness does wear off over time. You can get sprays and stuff to re-waterproof, stuff like that. I've got a kit up here that I've got waterproof kit in, and I've got a spray as well, which is that one. So this is a leather and textile protection, 3 to 6 months. You spray that over and it adds in that waterproofness again. So just make sure that before you send the scout, that your young person out, to make sure if they've got new boots, water second hand. Make sure they're waterproof, because if they're running through long grass and stuff that's wet, they're going to end up with wet feet. If they are brand new boots, you need to make sure that they wear them a couple of weeks here and there before they go anywhere, or otherwise they will get blisters, which is not a nice thing to have. Other than boots, take something else to walk around camping. You know, something easy, trainers. If you really want, flip-flops, or as bad as I say it, Crocs. I'm not a big fan of Crocs, but they are good for that reason. And then if you are wearing boots, you need to make sure you're wearing hiking socks. You can pick up hiking socks really cheap from any any camping shop. Hiking socks. Don't wear trainer socks, don't wear fluffy socks, hiking socks. They're designed for hiking. They're the best thing that you can get. Don't spend ridiculous amounts. You can get a pack of 3 or 4 for a £5 from a camping shop, and that's all you need. You know, you can wear your boots throughout the day. You know that your feet are going to stay dry and warm, and then when you are sort of walking around your tent or whatever, you can stick your other ones on, just to release your feet for a little bit. But I wear boots all weekend long. I love my boots, and yeah, you just need to make sure that you are wearing the correct footwear to make sure that your feet are going to stay nice and warm. One thing I have recently bought for my boots is actually these, which are wool inline, like insoles. They cost me like £7 from Morrison's, and they make a huge amount of difference, because if it is cold, your toes will get cold. I can guarantee you. It's happened to me. I've been sitting around the fire with my mates at camps, and my toes have got cold, but these are great. I can put them in the winter, and I can take them out in the summer. So that's clothing done. Obviously you want a little pouch. You know, you could put your toiletries and stuff in the little pouch that we spoke about earlier, or you could have a separate pouch for that. Other than that, realistically, there's not much else you need to take with you. Keep it simple, keep it lightweight. Waterproofs are great to take, but one thing I suggest over like a waterproof jacket is a poncho. Ponchos are really good, because no matter what you're doing, it could just be a really cheap poncho. I've bought a pack of 2 ponchos before from a camping shop for like £3. They are ugly, but if you're out hiking, you can chuck that on and it will cover your bag at the same time, keep your bag nice and dry as well. But it's so small that it just packs away into a side pocket or something like that. If you want to take a waterproof jacket, then by all means. Waterproof trousers. I don't personally like waterproof trousers. They make my legs sweat because they don't breathe. So waterproof trousers, you can buy them. They're cheap enough to buy if you want to buy them. I wouldn't suggest, always let your young person know only to put them on if it's raining though. Don't walk around continuously wearing them. If it starts raining, put them on. If it's not raining, make sure that they're not wearing them, because otherwise you'll just get all hot and sweaty and horrible. And because you're sweating and it's cold, your legs are cold because they're wet. So they're actually kind of, this is why I don't really like them. I don't wear them. I'd rather my legs just get wet. You know, with combats, you can get combats that are, I mean, my combats are water resistant, so it's not going to help me in downpour, but they've got wet before and they just dry out. It's not the end of the world. It's a bit of water. But yeah, I prefer that over waterproof trousers any day of the week. So yeah, we've gone through clothes and stuff like this. Other than that, there's nothing else I can really think of. You don't need, like I say, there's not much other stuff you need. Obviously, depending on the weather, if it's sunny, you want to take some suntan lotion, you want to take a hat. If it's winter, you've got to work with the seasons and stuff like this. But they don't need lots of gear, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. You can buy a lot of this stuff secondhand, and you can buy good stuff secondhand. Like I say, that sleeping bag, it's an amazing sleeping bag, and it cost me £20. There's lots of people out there that will help you with this sort of stuff. I'm sure your scout leaders or cub leaders or Duke of Edinburgh, whoever's running Duke of Edinburgh, they'll help you with this as well. Ask the questions. I understand that Not everyone has done camping before, and that's why I've made this video, to try and help you understand what your young person needs when they go away camping. But yeah, we want these kids to have a fun experience. We want them to enjoy it and stuff like this. We don't want them waking up in the middle of the night, freezing cold, uncomfortable, and during the day they're soaking wet, or they're carrying all this gear. It makes it feel more like survival than enjoyment, sort of thing. At the end of the day, we want it to be fun. So yeah, this is why I've made this video. I hope this video helps people who watch it. And if there is any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. But if there is people that you want to seek out, camping shops, they know the business, they know what's going on, and most of the time they won't try and sell you something you don't need. They won't sit there and say, oh yes, you need a £300 down sleeping bag and a £300 roll mat, and you need this bag that's £400. No, they will help you out. A lot of places even do kits ready to go for Duke of Edinburgh, which has got everything you need in it. At most, they cost like 200 quid, and that comes with everything that you need, and that's brand new. Like I said, if you look around, you can find some really good deals. I'm forever looking through Marketplace and stuff like this for good deals. I've actually just started sharing a lot of those deals with my scouts, because I've seen them too many times have uncomfortable nights and cold nights, and I don't want them to be like that. I want them to have fun and enjoy it as much as I enjoy camping. But yeah, like I say, any questions, leave them down in the comments. And if there is anything else that you want me to do, like a video on how to pack a bag, or even a hiking setup, if your young one's going out for a hiking day out or something like this, I'm more than happy to help with that. I will do any videos that I can possibly help with that sort of stuff. Just remember, especially with scouts, cubs and stuff like this, you don't need to send them with everything. The leaders have it all ready there. They just need the basics. They don't need huge amounts of stuff. You could easily pick up a bag, a sleeping bag, a roll mat, pillow, cutlery stuff, torch and stuff. You could do it all under 100 quid. I know that seems, obviously that is a lot of money for a lot of people, especially in these days. And if you've got multiple kids in this sort of, you've got one kid in cubs, one kid in scouts and stuff like this. But one, you want your kid to have a fantastic time doing what they're doing, and two, it could lead to something greater. Like me, I started as a beaver. I now do a lot of camping with friends. It is my main hobby. I'm a scout leader, so I'm using all this kit continuously. They might enjoy it so much that every year they want to go and do a long distance hike or something like this, and over the years they will obviously upgrade their gear themselves, or they might ask you it for Christmas or something. So look, I love my sleeping bag, but I want a better one for Christmas. Let's get the kids away from all this technology, which is a bit ironic because obviously I'm doing YouTube, but let's get them back outdoors and enjoying themselves. We want to make sure they're enjoying themselves. We want to make sure they're comfortable, and they're just enjoying the moment of being outdoors and enjoying the weather. And let's get them doing this more than playing on a tablet and stuff like this. They might even come up to you and say, I love camping so much, Mummy and Daddy, I want you to come with me. And then you've got to go out and buy some gear. And if so, I apologise. But, it is a fantastic thing to do. Camping gets you back out, and you can leave the real life behind you and go enjoy nature. So let's look forward to the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts with this. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope this has helped, like I say. And if there is anything, leave a comment below. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye bye.